Hi, we are Damián Ferrero and Eva Nikoghsyan, and this is an overview of Playlist Architect, the app we developed as our final project for the CS50's Introduction to Programming with Python. When you run it for the first time, it will ask you for the necessary permissions to perform these actions on your Spotify account. Once granted, you should see a message similar to this one confirming the successful linking to the account. We see that it is the same account. Here we have 4 playlists. We select option 3 to see the playlists saved in the app cache. Since no operation has been executed, there is nothing in the cache yet. We select option 4 to refresh the playlist's data. When the process is complete, we see a summary of the playlists found in the account. Now the app cache shows the following data from the playlists in our account: ID, user, name, tracks, and duration. Since we are going to be modifying the playlists, we can first show the backup options. We can export or import. Let's first export our current playlists. We can choose to export a selection or all the playlists. We now want to export them all. We choose a name and the directory for the JSON file that will be saved and will contain the backup data, and hit enter or click save. Now that we have backed up our data, we can safely show the other options. For example, the remove option. We can remove a selection or all playlists. Let's first remove a selection. To do that, we have to insert the IDs, separated, of the playlists to remove. In this case, IDs 2 and 4. Now, let's show the selected playlists. Let's edit the selection. Let's add more playlists. A table is displayed with the data of all current playlists. This column, cell, meaning selected, shows a big solid square in those playlists that were selected, and a middle dash in those playlists that were not selected. So now we can add more playlists to the selection, entering their IDs. Let's do it one more time. In fact, we have selected all. Now, we will remove some playlists from the selection. The number 1 and the number 3. We go back. And in our current selection we see number 2 and 4. We select remove selected playlists. Y, meaning yes, to confirm. It prints some details of the process. We see that Queen and Coldplay playlists were unfollowed. So now, in our Spotify account, we should see only 2 playlists: Imagine Dragons and Kingfisher. And that's exactly what we see. But remember, we can also choose to remove all the playlists from our account. Any changes done with this app are automatically reflected in the cache, so now, no playlists are found there. And if we refresh the playlist data, it fetches nothing because we have removed all playlists from our account. Let's import back our 4 playlists from the JSON file we have created previously. Given that this option allows the user to import any backup file, it could be the case that one or more of the original playlists in the backup are not reachable to the current user either because they are private playlists of another user or they no longer exist. We have 3 ways in which we can import them. 1. We can recreate all the playlists. Instead of following those original playlists from those original authors, it will recreate them all, so our account will be their author. 2. We can follow those original playlists that are still reachable and recreate those unreachable ones. Or 3. We can only follow those original playlists that are still reachable and ignore the rest. In our case, we want option 2. We select the JSON file to import. Some process details are printed. And now the imported playlists should be visible in both the cache, there they are, and the Spotify account. They are also there. Now we will show the most crazy functionality that this app currently has, the new playlist creation functionality. It creates a playlist with blocks of tracks from other playlists of the connected account. So let's see the process. First, we have to enter a name for the new playlists. We will call it Test 1. For its privacy, we can select public or, as we choose, private. It displays a table showing our current playlist's data, with some columns that we already know, such as ID, user, name, tracks and total, being the total playback time, or duration, and some other new columns, like used playback time, available playback time, and number of blocks. This column represents the number of track blocks we have created from each of the current playlists. Let's see it with an example. For block 1, we will use playlist 1, from which we will extract 30 minutes of tracks, which is achieved by writing the time in this format. For block 2, we will use the entire playlist 2, which is achieved by putting only the playlist ID. And for block 3, we will use playlist 3, from which we will extract 40 minutes of tracks. We could have used any playlist in any block. Here, it coincides only by chance. So now, we have these options. First, let's show the selected blocks. If we choose to add more blocks to the selection, we can see that there are one block from each playlist, 1, 2, and 3. The use time column was updated with the sum of the playback time we have used so far, and the available time column is the result of the total playback time minus the used playback time. Given that we have used the full playback time of the playlist 2, a kind of X symbol appears indicating that there is no available time for that playlist. And given that so far we didn't use the playlist 4, no numbers of blocks are shown, the use time is 0, and all the total time is still available. Let's add another block from the playlist 1 again, from which we will extract 55 minutes of tracks. It was correctly added as our fourth block. As you can see, we can make more than one block from any playlist. In fact, you can make any amount of blocks from any playlists as long as there is still time available in it. Now let's edit our selection. We have to choose the number of the block we want to edit. In this case, we want to edit the block number 4. We have to set the new time for it. The maximum time for this block is the time available in the playlist used for this block, not counting the time set previously. Remember that before creating this block, 2 hours and 5 minutes were available in playlist 1, so we have that same amount of time available again. We set, for example, 25 minutes for this block. We go back, show the blocks, and there we have our fourth block updated. We can also reorder the blocks. We can set the new order ourselves or make a random mix. Let's try to reorder the blocks ourselves first. So we have to choose the number of the block whose position we want to reassign. We choose the block 3, the only one from the playlist 3, called Imagine Dragons Top Hits. Now we assign number 1 as its new position, where currently there is a block of 30 minutes from playlist 1, Kingfisher Complete Collection. We must choose the way in which we want to reorder them. We choose those current blocks, 3 and 1, to simply swap numbers, hence their position. We can see that indeed they have swapped numbers and positions. Imagine Dragons Top Hits is now the block number 1, and the block of 30 minutes from Kingfisher Complete Collection is now the block number 3. Now let's reorder the current block number 3 to number 1, but this time, pushing the needed blocks. This is the result. Now let's reorder again, but this time we select S to see the shuffle options. We have to enter the numbers of the blocks to shuffle, or A to shuffle all of them. We choose to shuffle blocks 1, 2, and 3. Since the selected blocks not only randomly swap positions with each other, but their positions are randomly reassigned within the total range of blocks by moving the remaining blocks up or down as needed, choosing to shuffle all but 1 is the same as choosing to shuffle all. So we better restart the selection. We select blocks 1 and 2 to shuffle to any random position. You will see that the blocks that were previously in 3rd and 4th place have now been moved even though we did not choose to shuffle them. This is because they were pushed by the ones that were shuffled, although they will always preserve their relative hierarchy with respect to each other, unless we also choose to shuffle them. Now we are going to shuffle again, but this time, all the playlists. Let's see the result. Perfect. Now, we will finally create the playlist, but before, let us distance the current blocks 1 and 2 from each other, since they correspond to the same playlist, and we want the order to be better appreciated. So we swap 1 and 4, or, even better, we swap 2 and 4. Let's see the result. Nice. Now we are ready to create the playlist. All the details are displayed so we can review them. This is all correct, so we enter Y. It gives us a message of success, and the details of what was actually created. The total playback time may be slightly different from the stated time, as the time we allocated to each block was an estimate to fill it with tracks. So, ultimately, it depends on which tracks it decides to randomly pick. The more blocks we make, the greater the difference in total playback time will likely be. Let's check in our Spotify account. We see the new playlist called Test 1, with 44 tracks, the time rounded by Spotify itself, and it followed the blocks we previously set. First, Kingfisher. Second, Imagine Dragons. Third, Queen. And fourth, Kingfisher again. Finally, if we want to clear the Spotify authentication, we can select the option 6 from the main menu. A message is printed saying that a new authentication is required to operate a Spotify account. We can choose 1 to authenticate now, or 2, as we select in this case, to authenticate automatically the next time it is needed. That concludes this review of our final project app, Playlist Architect. Thank you.